Hello. It's a lot later than I typically come on, and I told myself I would come on, so here we are. I am Hope. I am here to uplift and just speak about life and how we can learn how to choose ourselves. Because if you're not choosing yourself, you may be choosing the opinions of others or a belief that we feel will suit us at that time. But the point is to choose us, choose you. Um, be directed by what fuels you. And that can be really difficult. And it can be difficult because until we detach from others' expectations of us, until we detach from how we feel our family, our friends, society may perceive us, we may not actually think that, thank you, Faithful True, for liking the live, that what we want isn't worth it. That our thoughts, our dreams, our goals aren't worth it because my mom didn't want me to do this, or my friends don't want me to do this. So I want to choose what they will like because I want them to like me, or I want to choose what they think will be best suited for me. No, we're not going to do that. That's whack. This is about that truthfulness that is you, which means I'm going in this direction and I know this direction is for me. So if I go in any direction that's not for me, I'm betraying myself, and I got to listen to myself. I have to choose me. And it's actually the easiest thing to do, to choose you. And I know, because I always choose me. But I always choose me because what is the other option? Thank you, Timmy's Family Farm. If the other option is to listen to what you whippersnappers are saying, no. I was laughing with my mother because I was saying, I say this all the time. I'm not listening to anyone. You have no style. Your clothes are terrible. Your palate for food is not good. I see how you treat people. Therefore, I believe what I want is worthy of having. I believe that. And I've shared, I was always the smart kid, and I was so smart, I would ditch class, and I didn't walk with my class for high school, but I was in the gifted and gate program. I told you so. I do. I do. And you know, I love that. That comes from, you see how I just switch up? Because I'm referring to the comments of I told you so. I like how you switch up your styles. I do. I like that. I will change the color of my hair. I will change how my hair is. I will wear my hair in its beautiful, thick, curly, natural state. I will blow it out. Now, someone told me I looked like Rosa Parks with my hair like this. I don't think I do, but that's a great comparison. However, I'm intentional. When I see myself speaking, I see a look, I will see the makeup, I will see the hair, I saw it pulled away. I see things, and that's a part of having vision, because if you don't have vision, the people perish. I have a vision for my day. I have a vision for my life. And that's important because sometimes it comes from not having a vision, comes from not having direction, which I still believe leads you to direction. Ultimately, I believe we're always on the right path. Thank you. We're already up to 1,000 likes. So as I was sharing, yes, I have vision, but again, what's the other option? Before I became, hi, Hope. Your name is Hope. So is mine. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. I was a flight attendant for 15 years before I started speaking. And prior to that, I was a makeup artist. I went into fashion. I've done several things, but I always believed that my voice would inspire. I always believed maybe it's like how possibly That's true. Possibly you need a break for honest self reflection. Not possibly, all the time. All the time, Leah. I'm going to pin your comment because absolutely. And let me speak about this. Of course, why not? Self reflection is actually most of my waking life. So it's not a possibly. I would shift that to I am always in a space of honest self reflection. I don't see that as a negative thing. I actually see that as uplifting. And self reflection allows me to shift and see who I am in this moment to gain more perspective or whatever I think in that moment. But sure, yeah, I think that's positive for everyone. Is there a reason to say that? Yes, daily life. I see you raising your hand. It's only negative if you don't like what you see. I don't even think that's negative, Tough Men Rich. I actually don't see any negativity. I see everything as a lesson that can be learned from. So when you say Tough Men Rich, it's only negative if you don't like what you see. There's never a time where I will not take that as a positive space of self reflection. I may not say I don't like what I see. I may be in a space of how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How did I get here? All of those questions. But again, to constantly put myself in a space of I don't like, that could be a space of growth as well. I just choose to have a different word selection, and it's all in the human experience. It's all in the human experience. Um, and I'm growing. We're always growing. So to grow is to shift and change. From my perspective, as long as, yeah, however, everybody's mindset is different. There's no set of people that have a same mindset because we all have a different perspective. This may be somewhat of a enlightened perspective, but I was sharing this with someone earlier. Any blanket statement would be incorrect. So the moment a statement of this is for everyone or this, all these types of people think this way, well, not necessarily. There may be that thought, but everyone actually comes from a different space in life, a different place in the world. And even if you align with a certain group, it does not mean that there is 100% agreement of a thought, if that makes sense. However, I always say I'm in a space of I don't know. I am smart enough to understand I don't know. I know what I know, but all that takes is new information for that to be proven untrue. And for me to know everything of how everyone thinks, it's impossible. So, um, and thank you, and thank you. The beauty of that is just I allow myself to be elastic in thought, meaning there's always a space of me being open to a perspective. Meaning, not saying this perspective is wrong, you should think this way, that's the wrong way to think. I don't see that as beneficial for me because the most intelligent space is to be able to hold another's opinion. I don't have to agree with it. I don't. The point is not to agree. If that is the case, that's not the most compassionate nor the most intelligent. The point is to hold space for any opinion. It may shift me into a more enlightened state or a space of power or just maybe another space of compassion. But that also comes from travels and me being able to see and live the world and also going through really hard things. Um, really difficult moments have allowed a space to be open for others' perspectives because for me, the truth is the time I spend with another human being is that gift. Um, and I found that through friends of mine um, passing away. That's the one thing that I've learned. The point is to just allow that space and time with me and another human being, and that is the gift. Maybe there's something learned in that moment. So, what was I speaking about? Shifting my, I think, look. And it's a part of recreation because every day that you show up, you're a different person. Regardless if you believe this or not, it could be you had more rest, you had more sleep, or you didn't have sleep, or whatever variations you've had in that day causes you to show up slightly differently. And how beautiful that is. And many people in my lives will say, "Oh, I like your look this day," or "I like your look that day." It's because I'm embodying the shifts and the changes in me. And I share this as a speaker because it's important to accept that we are changing and it's okay to shift and it's okay to change. And it's okay to say, that's how I was. That's how I was showing up. That's how I was thinking. And now I'm just in a different space without a judgment of yourself. I love change. I am. Thank you, Mama Peg. We have similar birth years. So thank you. This is like what we wore in kindergarten. And I'm sharing that. Shift up your look. I am changing all the time. This is this is, but Tough Man Rich, you're here. So I share that because the thought is, well, it's this app, so that thought isn't here. And trust me, sometimes I go through content and I think I it's not that I can't relate. I've just lived life. And I know when it's somewhat authentic because I can tell when someone says, if you want to change your life, do this, compared to a person who's actually done the changing of life. It's a completely different space of content. Changing your life is incredibly challenging. Of course they are. I'm a TikToker. Tough Mem Rich, you're a TikToker. So somebody, you're relating to it. I'm not looking to shift the masses. I'm just calling in my tribe. And I've said this the last time when I moved to Hawaii, or whenever I move, people have said, well, do you know anyone there? No, purposely. I like to put myself in a space where I can grow and I can shift and I can learn. And sometimes I am trying to get away from people that I've known. Definitely. Because in every new space, you become a new person. And when I moved to Maui, a lot of my friends I met in Target. But I always say, your tribe finds you. Of course, Mama Peg, your tribe finds you. I don't have to go and search. And I've seen so many pieces of content about it's so difficult to meet friends after college or after 30 or after 40 or after 50. Here's the thing. I'm never trying to meet friends. I am with my best friend every day, and that's me. And this is not any negativity to people who like to have others surround them and uplift them or do things in concert with. But I have found the friend within me, and that is difficult. It comes from a lot of time with myself. Thank you, Cadillac Sweet. And I love that because my granny had a coupe de ville. She had a fully loaded Coupe de Ville, a 78 Coupe de Ville. Oof, lovely. But that best friend is me. And what's up, David? It's growth to be with yourself. I've also said this in the space of romance. I I'm never actually looking for a partner. They are always attracted to me because why not? What's there not to love? But I love my life. I love my space. If you see me here on TikTok, you will see I change up my makeup looks, my hair. You may see me in different destinations in the world because I enjoy my life. It's mine. I'm not saying I'm going to enjoy my life when I got this person next to me. I'm going to enjoy my life when these people message me back so we can travel. I'm going to enjoy my life when they send me the message so we can go roller skating. I'm not waiting on anyone to enjoy my life. It's my life. I've learned how to enjoy it. And is that challenging? Possibly. But what is the other option? Yeah, and let me also say I love a companion. Okay? I am not one to say I don't like men. I love my gentlemen. They love me. I've always had wonderful men surround me and court me, and I have nothing negative to say to anyone who has been in my space romantically. There's also that. But you know why? I have a great picker. You know why? That secret? I actually had a great example. I actually saw an example of two people that liked each other and respected each other and had an intentional relationship. And I speak about my father often because he died at the end of 2023, and it caused a huge shift in my life. My father respected me. He loved me. He guided me. He was in my home every day. He set an example. I always saw him respecting my mother and courting my mother, even through their almost 50 years of marriage. And they would go out on dates weekly. And he never said, you know what, if you go out with a guy, pay 50-50. I had an old school daddy. I say this because the love that I received, thank you, from my father created that security that I already have the man. I already have that. That was my father. I'm already good enough. So why do I need you in my life? Now, I may want you, but I do not need you. And I don't need you because I have me. But if we meet at a certain space, I can invite you into my life and we can share life together. Outside of that, I'm not bending or changing or shifting too much. If that makes sense. Exactly, Cadillac. Exactly. When I'm speaking of this, it really comes down to the love of myself. And I speak about my parents often because they were intentional. And sometimes when I speak, even as a professional speaker, it's not really understood because unless you had that, you won't understand it. I've spoken about my I'm non-intimacy when dating and being very honest with anyone who's in my space. Great, we can go out to eat, we can even travel, we can talk on the phone, we can get to know each other, but that is outside of intimacy. That does not go along with courting for me. Now, I share that because I know exactly what I will have out of a relationship, not what I want. I'm not just going out and saying, well, whoever shows up, I'll take them. Absolutely not. I know how fabulous I am. I know myself. Know thyself. I know my peace. I know I can be a complete crazy person. So if you get, I jokingly say that because I think sometimes for women, depending on the generation, have been taught that our life is not complete unless we share it with someone, or unless we have the children, or unless we do these things in concert with others. And that is a space, but that's only going to work when you can work with yourself. You can hardly work well with others if you can't work well with yourself. And I am comfortable with, thank you, Cadillac Stewart, with myself. Thank you, Sean, because I have 4 sisters who are lovely and I love them immensely. And I am fine loving them through FaceTime. I love my family and I love them wherever I've lived. So I'm originally from Central California. When I was first hired with the airline, I was based in the DMV area. So I lived in Alexandria, Virginia, and then I moved into DC. So anyone put where you live in the chat. I probably have a story about it. That's where a lot of my speaking comes from, my 15 years as a flight attendant. Yes, was that difficult? Because at 22, the first time I moved out of my house, because my parents were never like, get out, get out. Oh, Mama Peg, Chicago. I have so many stories about Chicago because my airline has a base there. So I did training in Chicago for 8 weeks, and Chicago's like a second home if you're with 2 major carriers like United or American. So I have a lot of times. I'll tell you about the time I crashed a wedding. And Philly. I have a lot of stories about Philly because living in DC, one of my greatest friends went to Howard and she had a lot of friends that went to Temple. So we would go to Philly often. And I will tell those 2 stories. So first time moving out, I moved to DC, well, Alexandria, Virginia, then moved into the district. Now, I loved DC, but I knew this ain't it. There's another level. And I share this because often the thought is, this is as good as it gets. No, it's not. I know there's more, but I trust myself. So I always told myself, DC is great and dating is great and growing is great. And you have academia and you have political people and you have a lot of, it's just a great combination of people in DC, especially at that time, because this was in 2006. But it's not enough. I want more. I want more. And that's when I moved to London. Yeah, Chocolate City. That's right. Yeah. That's when I moved to London. And moving to London was just out of the thought of, I do want to move to London, but I also want to be fully immersed in, what's up, Mag, in another city outside the US for at least 4 years. It wasn't a space of, I want to try this out for 6 months. No, I'm going to put myself in a position as a young adult to fully embrace this new space because it is a completely different way of life. And I'm sharing that because all of this time, I love you, Mag. I really do. Let's run these likes up. And thank you. I changed the lookup. You know, I'm always changing the lookup. And I know you got to work in the AM. And I appreciate you coming and showing love because you do. So Mag is a hopeful and he always comes in and just says some nice comments. I saw you left a comment on one of my videos. I appreciate you. And I'm sharing this about trusting yourself because I believe I was interviewed by the New York Times about just that. Trusting yourself. Trusting your intuition. And it's the simplest thing. But also often that thought of trusting yourself is, I can't trust myself. I'm going against the natural inclination that I have to do something else. Why the F would you do that? Why would you do that? And in the article, it's just like the piece of content that I made. If it's not an 100% yes, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog. Because you know when it's a yes. You're excited, you're giddy, there's no second guessing. But if you're saying, I don't know, even if it's you, for me, this New York Times article came from a piece of content that I posted about saying no to a marriage proposal. In fact, 2 of them. And it connects to my parents, but it connects to me. If there's ever a reservation for something as pivotal as marriage, I am not going to say I'm going to say yes when everything in me is saying no. Why? You're not going to trust yourself in something as pivotal. Thank you, Mag, for sharing the live as marriage, but it doesn't even have to be marriage. It could be, I want to go to this restaurant. I don't want to go to that restaurant. Okay, well, I'm not going to go. I will still go along with what I want. But it comes down to trusting yourself. As I'm sharing with you all the places I've lived, I was with the airline starting at age 22, and I had moved to London by age 24. And it was trusting myself. Is there fear? Sure. Is there maybe the fear of the unknown? Absolutely. That is normal. That is supposed to be there. You haven't done it. I hadn't lived there. But that doesn't mean I don't go forward. The absence of fear often is not real, meaning anything that you want to do, you will feel a bit of restriction or fear. But still, that is different from this is what you should not do. There is a difference. And I found out the difference by constantly listening to myself. So if it was, I want to move to London, there was never a space of, this is what you should not do. Was there a fear because I had never lived outside the country? Absolutely. But that is a completely different feeling from, no, that's not what you should do. And in this article, I speak about understanding the difference. You will only understand as you continue to listen to yourself. You will only understand as you continue to walk towards what's for you. A lot of this comes from what you would consider to be a mistake. I just call it a lesson because I'm learning from it. There is no mistake. I've learned from it. But something as pivotal as a lifelong commitment, if I'm not running towards it with a yes and I'm excited about this and we'll start our lives together, I know that feeling. If that doesn't come up, then it's a no. And for me to constantly say, yeah, but maybe you should, why? Why would you question something that's not for you? Thank you for the follow, Jean-Eddie Pierre. Why? A lot of that comes from that simple fact of you just don't trust yourself. Thank you, Clara Nally, for the follow. Lady T, what's up, what's up, what's up? Thank you for checking in. Trusting yourself is a feeling, and I would always say I go with a feeling. I know when it feels good. I know where I'm going. I'm listening. I'm feeling. I know it. But if you've been, I know you are. I didn't see you on live today, but I wasn't really on so much. What's up? Lady T said, what's up, chat? What's up, chat? Here's another fabulous creator who is in the styling world, hairstyling, cosmetology. She's now an instructor, an educator for hairstylists. She also does digital products and she battles on live. So check out Lady T. So let's get to this. Trusting yourself. Trusting yourself will take you constantly listening. Not saying, oh, let me call my cousin. Let me call my mom. Let me call my friend. Let me look on TikTok and see if this is what I should do. I don't need to look at anything. I don't need to look at anything. What's up, Terrence? I trust myself. And I was sharing this with my mom because she was telling me about someone, thank you, Terrence, about someone who knew that they shouldn't go into a long-term commitment with someone and get married, but they said yes. Why? You know when it's not for you. You know when something's not for you. And Terrence, you're correct about, you were talking about Ye, because he's renamed himself. People, this goes along with the message I'm giving with trusting yourself. Things work when you just are relentless about it. I know what's for me. I don't care if you don't believe it. I don't care if you don't see it. I don't care because I care about what I feel and what's right for me. So when you were speaking about making, and I'm speaking about Terrence, who's in the chat, he has a run club, D17, a brand. He's based out of the DMV area. He also, you run. I know that. But you were speaking of your samples and how you want to do things differently. Sure. It's like Homer Simpson said, people will like what I tell them to like. A lot of you mofos have no style. And I say this and you will laugh. No style at all. You will go in and say, this looks good on the mannequin and buy everything off the mannequin. There's very few that have that style and put things together in a certain way because, again, that comes from knowing oneself. And knowing oneself, it is difficult because that just means you have to trust you. That means you have to filter out everything else. I want to wear this. I would never wear that. I don't care what you want to wear because you are you. I am me. I am fly. I have elegance. I have style. I know about fabrics. I know about texture. I know about cuts. I've been a model. I've been a stylist. I know how to sew. I've been to fashion weeks all over the world. None of that means anything. I know what I like. How about that? But that means you have to filter out others' opinions. And that is the hardest part for a majority of people because they want people to like what they like. I don't care if you don't like what I like. I like what I like, but I also like me. And because I like me, I trust myself. I trust my opinions. I trust my choices. I trust the life that I've built for myself. I trust it because it's mine. It's for me. It's not for you to say, hey, that's very cool. Now, you probably will. I'm the flyest mofo that you'll ever see. I really am. You see me turn up on here, my hair's in different styles, it's in different colors. I know. But that takes the courage of showing up as you. That took the courage of, I want to move to Paris. Do you know anyone? No, but I'm going to move there. Okay, now it, again, seems very easy. It is ostracizing. You feel alone. And through that, that's how I grew into the space of, and I did it. And I evolved. And I made friends. And I created this life. And I did this. But you got to go through that uncomfortable part to get to that final bit. And most don't want to do that because it is hard. It is uncomfortable. I don't care about that. I want an incredible life. And an incredible life comes with incredible hardships. It just does. It's a part of it. I don't care about easy. I don't care about that. On the other side of easy is really nothing. Because if it's easy, it's somewhat familiar. Unfamiliar is what individuals will call hard. What's on the other side of that is you learning. What's on the other side of that is your persistence. What's on the other side of that is your growth. What's on the other side of that is a new you, a new version of you, all of that. And that is hard. That's why individuals don't do it. I remember when I was first hired by the airline at 22, and a friend of mine said, I would never do that. They don't get paid too much. I don't care. You just got knocked up. We used to hang out and go to LA and have all this fun, and now you got a baby. And now I'm flying all over the world. That's great that you feel that way. But I'm also not going into this just for the monetary value. If you tell me, Hope, with your fine self and your ability to learn languages and absorb the world, you can travel the world like hopping on a bus, starting at age 22, I'm going. I'm out of here. Okay? I am gone. Boom! All you could see was the dust. I'm out of here. I'm out of here because I know there's something for me. I wanted to experience the world. I wanted to say, yeah, I don't care about What's up, link in bio? I wanted to be a Renaissance woman where I had a lot of information and could just break off into different languages. I wanted to do that. And that is difficult because that means you have to leave behind everything that's familiar. That means you got to leave behind your family, which you're never leaving behind. And it's not a bad thing to leave behind family. Let me tell you, it's not a bad thing. Most of y'all need to be left behind. But, and I love my family, but that can be difficult because again, you have to have comfort with yourself. With yourself. And I love myself. I love being with myself. I didn't say by myself, I'm with myself. I'm with my best friend. I'm out of here. I am never afraid to walk away from anything that's not for me, ever. And I made a piece of content on my other page about after the loss of my father, it's even easier for me to walk away from anything that's no longer for me. Goodbye. Bye. Watch my nicely toned round behind walk away because I know what's for me will come with ease and stays. That's it. Thank you for the likes. But that's what it takes. You see, it's just like any athlete or some celebrity or someone who is notable that you can see. They make it look easy. And I use Beyonce often. Beyonce makes it look easy because what you don't see is all of the work she put in. Any designer, anyone who does something effortlessly, what you don't see is they, number one, will have a natural affinity for that thing, but then they put the work in. When I saw Terrence had jumped into my live and I said, oh yeah, I ran a marathon, I didn't train. Well, some people would say, that's impossible. No, I've been a runner my entire life, so I know I can do it. The only difference is I just believe I can do it. I just believe. I just believe. That's what it takes. But if you don't like you, if you don't trust you, you probably don't believe in you. They go hand in hand. If you don't like you, why would you believe that you could do something that you've never done? It's crazy. I am crazy enough to believe I can do anything. I also had a foundation. And I state that often. I had a foundation. I had parents that encouraged me. I had parents that said, we believe in you. I had parents that said, well, show up every day. You can do it. Sometimes you won't have that, and you will have to be your own foundation. You will have to be your own foundation. I had made a post on my Hope is Speaking YouTube page about when I gave my TED Talk. When you see me on that stage doing a TED Talk, which was like another achievement that was checked off, what you didn't see was all of the work I had to do to get there. And it wasn't really about practicing and writing because I'm an extemporaneous speaker. I don't write my speeches. This is like it's kind of a spiritual thing. I feel there's something working through me when I'm speaking, but there's a lot of technical effort. I was in Toastmasters. I'm usually speaking every day. I go and speak. I spoke at my high school. I speak at various clubs. I'm doing this all the time. So I don't doubt myself. I know this is how I'm going to open. I know these are my points, but everything in between, it will come. And it's kind of formulating as I'm speaking, but I trust myself. And the more that I do it, I know. But when I speak about my TED Talk, what no one saw was, okay, are you good enough? And then I had someone close to me say, well, Hope, of course you are. They contacted you because of what you do. And I share this because a lot of time for us high achievers, and I am one, shout out to AP classes and the GATE program and gifted and talented and all of that BS. There may be that nagging voice of, but are you really good enough? And I mentioned this on the last keynote I gave. I gave the closing keynote at a 3-day retreat. And it wasn't before I spoke, it was after. And it was that thought of, when people come and say, that was great and it touched me. No, you're not. You're not really that great. They're just making that up. It's not that good. You should give up. That's a part of it. Because that's an old version of you trying to hold on. Anytime you're achieving something great, trust me, baby, that feeling comes and it's a part of it. It's just for me to recognize and say, okay, that's not true. I don't have to attach to that. And that just means I've leveled up. But I'm sharing this because the thought is I'll never have that. I'll always just feel that I can do it. I do. But there's still that space of me that will say, but is it really that great? Yes. Anything you want to do is really not with the outside. It's what's inside. The challenge is within. Your challenge is within. Every time I would, even language learning, and I remember I was with my nephew at my sister's house in Charlotte, and I was speaking French to him because he studies French. He's at UNC Chapel Hill, and he wanted to practice, so I was speaking with him, and someone said, we're in America, speak English. First of all, you're an idiot. I'm not your idiot. I actually speak multiple languages, so shut up. Secondly, that's a part of it. Someone may say, you know what, I don't want to feel ostracized, so I will just speak English. No, I got to show my intelligence. How about you go learn a language? How about you feel uncomfortable? Because language learning is one of those things that you will feel the most uncomfortable, at least for me. Not being able to communicate, I'm a communicator. When I know, okay, am I conjugating correctly? I'm messing up the words. So what? Just speak. It's just like in life. Just speak. Say what you need to say. People will piece it together. They will piece it together. Sissoko, are you Senegalese? Speak. Be who the F you want. Because a lot of mofos don't like themselves. They don't like themselves. They don't love themselves. They don't expect much. So why do I care what you think of me? Dusty shoes and all. Look at your hair color. There's that part, but I digress. I love all. I'm a humanist. I really love all. But I say that because sometimes you got to step onto your soapbox and say, wait a minute, nah, I do this. While you over here trying to tear me down, first of all, if you're trying to tear anyone down, I already know you're hurt. Right. Okay. Malian? Because Sissoko I know that's what I just said, Malian. I just said that because who was it? Momo Sissoko, the soccer player who played for the national team, but he also played for um, you know, Momo. So do I. So, as I continue to talk about what, if anyone is trying to tear you down, they're hurt. And I have compassion for that. I'm not trying to tease you because I understand that comes from a space of hurt. Anyone who's content within themselves is not trying to tear down anyone else. Ever. 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 So I have compassion for that, but get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let me create what I see fit for me. How about that? How about you allow me to be great? What you doing? You over here tearing me down. I'm over here being great. Okay? Looking good, feeling good, inspiring people. But no one ever tears me down, in fact, because I shared this on my live yesterday. I live by a code and I'm a G. So there's never a time where anyone, to my face at least, has torn me down or said anything negative. Because I don't want no problems. I don't do things to make people feel inept or less than. I know life is hard. Trust me, when I talk about 2024 as a character building year, I didn't say bad year. I didn't say the worst year of my life, but it was a character building year. There's so much I learned after the death of my father. It was just like, wow. But there's a saying that says, be gentle with everyone you meet because everyone is in the battle of their life. You never know what people are battling. You never know. And I learned that through my 15 years of flying. Because it's not that a passenger is rude, they're going to bury their son. It's not that someone's impatient, they just learned that their mother has 2 days to live. It's not that a passenger is rude to you. They actually aren't a native English speaker, so they feel uncomfortable. There's always layers behind it. It's not that people don't like you. Give a human being a chance to be a human. And that's the basis of my speaking. Allow a human to be a human instead of just writing someone off as dumb or rude. There's more behind the story. And I've shared this story when I was flying, and there was a gentleman who kept going thank you, Mama Peg, who kept going into the lavatory on the plane and smoking a tobacco cigarette, which you cannot do. You don't want to light any fire within an airplane because the fuselage, the interior of the plane, is fiberglass, and that's why it will immediately go up in flames. Luckily, that never happened, but he kept trying to have his tobacco cigarette. And we had to get the captain involved, and he was so distraught. And he told me, he said, why can't I just use this cigarette? I just found out my brother unalived himself, and I have to go identify him and then set up his service. I had to step into a space of being a human at that moment. Because this gentleman who kept going into the lavatory to use his tobacco cigarette was anxious because he had just found out his brother unalived himself. He had to go and do all of the proceedings and then the service for his younger brother. And instead of saying, well, it's FAA regulations, I understand. As a human, I can't, as much as I can empathize for you, I can't truly capture that feeling, and I understand. And so when I share about these moments, especially when I was a new hire buddy, because it's not until you work with people often for a long time, and especially in the air, that you understand people go through some real things. A lot of times they don't mention it. I had shared during my time as a flight attendant, I had a few passengers that passed away on the flight. One, like, in my arms, like, oh my gosh. All of these things changed my perspective of life and how we interact. And it actually softened me in every way. I'm already soft, but it softened me in every way. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's also the fragility of life, which was solidified with my emergency landing, which you can watch in my link in bio. I talk a bit about the left engine that went out, and that led me to this moment, because I truly said, listen, I've been to 70 countries. I've lived here. I've lived there. I could go to Milan and have a pizza. I could go to Rio and dance. I've done all of these things and more. Is that it? Is that it for my life? Just to come on here and say, Mama Peg, I used to just say, hey, we live in London. Let's fly to Rome and have a margherita pizza and go grocery shopping and fly back to London. Great. What else is there? What else is there for you? Hope, what else is there for you in life? Is there more? Is there something that you can give back? Is there someone you can inspire? Or is this just it, just flying around the world? Nah, there's something for me to give back. There's something more. And I'm going to challenge myself to spread my message of hope. Through all of this fabulous traveling around the world, there's a message to it. Thank you, Mama Peg. This stuff changes your life, and it's also mastery. It's also me answering a call. Like, this is something bigger than me. And my father was a speaker, and my mother is an amazing woman. There's all of this. When I say I wanted to be a Renaissance woman, really, I just want to give back, because I've done everything. I can tell all of these stories. I have stories from every state, every country, all of this. So what? How can it improve someone else's life? Because now I am of service. And it's crazy to follow this spiritual path, because it's really like a spiritual calling. But someone may need to hear it. And I know I'm just captivating and beautiful in every way, but the beauty just brings you in so you can hear the words. Especially in this country, we're separated. I would always say, this country, we don't see each other as humans. We see each other as colors, as a sexual orientation, a political party. I just want I want to know, if my niece or nephew or child is crossing the street, will you ensure that they cross the street safely? I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you love. I don't care how much money you make. All of that doesn't mean anything, because regardless, all of this will end for us at some point. All of these things that keep us apart really keeps us apart from the power that we are as a people. As a people. Because if you really want change, you could quickly change all of this. But my bigger thought is, people don't want change. They don't. Change is always happening. It's incremental. It's daily. And the change that you want, you have to become. I am the change I seek. I'm not saying, hey, pick up trash. If I see trash, I'm picking it up. I'm the change I want to see. I don't want to hear you say what we should do. What are you doing? Because the truth is, people learn from seeing. Just become it. I'm not asking you to jump on board with me. All I'm doing is being the change I seek, because someone will see it and be inspired. That's it. Yeah, it's beyond discomfort, it's pain. And Americans don't really want that. Let me be completely honest. Americans don't want to strike or do any of that. If you did, you could. But again, I digress. This is not the message for that. Be the change you want. And even if that's within yourself, changing your occupation, changing your body, changing your habits, changing the way you think, it starts within you, period. That is a powerful change, because once you see the change you create within yourself, you know, wow, I can do that. If I can do that, what else can I do? What else can I do for me? And then maybe it will funnel into others. But people are always watching, whether it's your children, whether it's your family, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's your friends. People are always watching. When we spoke about integrity yesterday, I mean it. I do say these things, but it just matters what people see me do. Exactly. I stand in my gosh darn truth. The biggest sign of truth is, what are you willing to give up for it? I had to believe that as a professional speaker, this is now my life and I will be the biggest, best, brightest speaker ever. Not, I hope I will. Not, I'm going to take a side hustle. I said, I'm throwing everything into this because this is real for me. I'm like an athlete with speaking. I live this. I live this. So I was intentional and said, I'm stepping away from flying. I've received all the lessons I've needed. And that's probably a spiritual thing, because most aren't going to say, I'm going to leave my career. I can build another one. I'm building it. I've built it. But I believe I have, I will, I can, I am. What's up, CeeLos? You got to believe. And sometimes that belief is 10%, sometimes it's 110%, sometimes it's 50%, but you got to believe. If your belief is always at zero, forget about it, because you don't believe. Sometimes that belief comes from others believing in you. The moment I told my parents, like, listen, I'm going to retire, take the early retirement, I'm going to go into speaking, they said, great, we support you. We're looking forward to hearing your next success. Great. Now I know I have the people that birthed me behind me. Who else do I need? Who else do I need? I got to build this for me. And it is hard. But on the other side of hard is the glory. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My crown. I share this because this doesn't have to be the lifelong journey that you place your belief in. You can place your belief in your ability to change. You can place your belief in your ability to create a beautiful family or a beautiful life for yourself. Your belief in yourself comes down to what you funnel it into. And that is powerful, because if you only believe when people believe in you, you're done out here. You're finished. Because when I said most people don't believe in themselves, they don't like themselves, they don't love themselves, they don't expect anything out of themselves, why the heck would they believe in you if they don't believe in themselves? In fact, if they actually see you doing what you set out to do, that means that they could possibly change their life. And if that is the truth, they may not support you. That's all right. That's the lesson you may need to learn. Maybe that pushes you further. But ultimately, this is the message. It's never about anything outside of you. It's always within you. When I hop into Terrence's lives and he's speaking about his brand and what he wants to do and running, the reason why I love long distance running is it's that belief of I'll get to the finish line. It's that belief of, I, as long as I keep going, as long as I put one foot in front of the other. The other thing is, again, I like being in those groups that are the 1%. Thank you, Rabbi. Most of y'all ain't putting on your running shoes to go running, okay? Every day I'm committing 1 hour to my body. Whether it's running, walking, rollerblading, hiking, trail running, pole dancing, whatever it is, 1 hour. That dedication shows. It shows in how I speak. It shows in how I stand. It shows. But until you have consistency in that, you probably don't have consistency in much of anything else. Consistency in showing up in your body shows in everything else in life. And this doesn't have to be a hardcore workout. This is just, I put on some shoes and I go walk on my lunch break. That already differentiates people. And I share that because your health will get you there. Your health will get you there. If you have a huge goal, it often will start with you actually putting physical work into your body. Now, there may be high achievers or people that create large change who do eat whatever they want, who do not physically put work into their bodies consistently. Possibly. I have yet to see it, but it's a possibility. And I share that because once you start that consistency of pouring into your body, you start saying, oh, wow, I feel great. And I can sleep at night. And oh boy, this body's looking good. It shows. It shows. There are a series of habits that just go along with individuals that achieve greatness. It always starts with belief. No one says, I'm going to do something great when I believe in it. Partner, that don't work. Those two don't go together. You got to believe. Great change comes with great belief. And most of the time, it's the belief that others don't see because they don't believe in you. They don't believe in you. That's a part of it. I'm not talking down to those. That's a part of it. If you're a leader, you got to lead, which means you lead yourself. Others will jump on board when it works out. Because until it works, they don't believe. So when I'm speaking of the belief or showing up for yourself every day, it comes from you. This is never about anything outside of you. You may have to shift your belief in yourself. You may have to shift your thoughts from a negative space to a positive space. You may have to lie to yourself and say, of course you can do it. You're the greatest at it. It's not lying. It's just, it's only delusional until it works. That's a part of it. That's a part of it. But this is with anything in life. If this is the relationship with your friends or with your partner or with leaving a job you hate, you got to believe that there's something more for you. If you don't believe, you'll stay where you're at. I don't think I could get another job. I don't think I want to leave. Well, stop thinking. Start choosing a different option. This ain't for the weak. And sometimes it will take that shakeup to understand, oh yeah, I can do this. Of course. Of course. A lot of that for me comes from some sort of movement in your body. And once your body look all hot and delicious, I mean, you just want to keep at it. You feel good about yourself. That's the other thing. Feeling a heightened goodness, belief, trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. And it doesn't have to be all of the time. You may have some days where you're like, I hope this works. And then you go back into, I know it will. I love that. I love that. I love those who do that 5:30 a.m. gym. I have done it. I don't really care to do it anymore. However, that shows that true potent belief. I love that. Going through a decade of school, now Dr. CEO. That's what's up, mama. Mommy, that's what's up. You see, that takes more of what you thought you were. That takes more of what you thought you were. So when you transition into that space of power of, I'm up every morning, I'm in the gym. Can't tell me nothing because I'm there pumping weights. I'm there, reps done. Why would I listen to you? You ain't in the gym. You don't even do step aerobics at the house. Why would I go somewhere? Be quiet. Get out of here. It also makes it easier than me getting on my soapbox. If you ain't doing it, shut up. If you ain't doing it, if you aren't working for something greater than what you are now, whatever you say to me doesn't mean anything. It's like people who say, oh, I would never go there. You don't go anywhere. You don't get on a plane. I've gone through 6 passports. I don't care what you say. I don't want to listen to you. You haven't done it. I am not asking for information, like Ye said. I'm not asking for information from someone who hasn't done what I want to do. Even if you've done it, I'm not going to ask you because I know I can create it. But why the F am I listening to you? I'm not. And that comes back to that trust in yourself. Individuals will always tell you how it can be done when they haven't done it. How you know? How do you know how to do it? You don't. But I'm never talking down to anyone's occupation. But if you in HR and you've been there since you got out of high school, but you always want to do something else, but you're afraid, why am I asking you about building a brand? And what expertise do you have? All I see you in is Dockers and some worn out Skechers. Why am I'm not listening to you. Why would I listen to you? No, your skin doesn't glow. Mine does. I don't need your skincare advice. But it takes that, and I like to make people laugh because that's a part of it. The individuals who are doing it often aren't just giving out their way to do it. Maybe if you come to them, but often those who are striving for that greatness aren't saying, hey, let me tell you how to do this. Now, if you approach them, they're happy to talk to you. But the ones that are just throwing out information often haven't done it. They haven't done it. And that's a part of it too. I trailblaze for me because I'm figuring it out. And I love to figure it out. I will figure it out. What I need will come to me. The experts, the knowledge, I can go on ChatGPT. I'll just figure it out. The reason why I'm so confident, it's because I've figured everything out. I figured out some crazy situations and I'm still here. You have survived your worst days. Figure it out. I'm not for the how am I going to make this work? I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I'm crying. I ain't got the money. Figure it out. That's the coolest people. They just figure it out. I don't have time to tell you about my problems. I'm too busy creating the solution. Let me tell you that again. I don't have time to tell you about my problems because I'm too busy creating the solutions. I will figure it out. I'll figure it out. And I remember telling someone that. They told me something. I was like, I'll figure it out. I'm already done with this. All right, I see where this is going. I'll figure it out. In my mind, you are no longer a factor. I will figure this out. That is a dangerous space for the other party, for me. As soon as I look at you like, I'll figure it out. You're done out here. Okay? And that could be for the problem, which is really the solution. I'm never focusing on the problem. I'm always creating the solution. I've done it without a phone. I've done it trying to... I've figured things out. I've figured things out in countries where I don't speak the language and people came and helped me. I figured it out when I shared the story when I got ran over by a motorcycle in Buenos Aires. I figured it out. I figured it out when I got robbed in Tahiti earlier this month and my phones were stolen. I figured it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Figure it out. It makes you bolder. It makes you vibrant. It makes you powerful, because after you figure it out, it's like, whoa, I figured that out? Of course I did. I can figure anything out. Come on. Come at me, life. Let's go. But it's that trust and belief in oneself that I will always figure it out. There's nothing that will bring me out of my space of power for creating the solution. And y'all mofos don't know, I am amazing. Speak to yourself like that. I am amazing. I'm not listening to you. What have you done? That's when I get into my yay area. Really, what have you done? You've been in the same city since high school. And that means something. Because the moment that you actually venture out, you gain like another layer of warrior. I'm sure you have solutions to do things, but I really am not going to listen to anyone who hasn't left their hometown. Period. That's the first jump of like, I can do this. What have you done? But I digress. It's the belief in yourself. It's the belief in yourself. It's the belief that you are creating. It's the belief that it's not about the problem because you're too busy building the solution. It's the belief that I am always one decision away from a breakthrough. Period. Even in those moments where it's like, I know, and I will say, I'm figuring this out. I may go and get into the bed or the shower and cry and say, okay, and I'll figure this out. I figured everything out. I'll figure it out. Okay, I'll figure it out. Then you go on. But the point is to continuously move forward. Move forward. Not backward. And I also add, put yourself in a position where you can't go back. I put myself in that position as soon as I left the airline. Now I have to go forward. It wasn't, I hope this works out. I hope that it will. No. This got to work. I will do what it takes. This will work. It is working. Thank you, Queen Links 111. The one who conquers fear and doubt conquers failure. Yes. And I will also add, I've removed failure from my vocabulary because there is no such thing. There is only the lesson. There is only the lesson. What did I learn from this? How did I grow in this? What did I achieve that I didn't know before this? And looking at everything that way creates that space where you say, whoa, I am so powerful. Because you are. But you have to trust that you are. I've been at this. I've been in these streets and these skies. 5 years old, I was on the playground figuring it out. And also I have these wonderful sisters that have challenged me my entire life. But I say that because what's the other option? To say I can't make it? It won't work out for me? Nah, that ain't for me. I'm a conqueror. I am amazing. And speak to yourself like you are amazing, because you are. You are. We all are in our own individual ways. And I had said this on my stories when I was at this fundraiser over the weekend. You are the coolest person to your teenage self. Your 16-year-old, I know I am. I know my 16-year-old self is like, geez, Hope, you just look at you. You, of course. That's helpful because a lot of us will put these weights on us from other adults. Think about your teenage self. If they saw all your accomplishments, if they saw your current style, if they saw the positions that you are in, the people that you know, the places you've been, your 16-year-old self would be like, wow. Think about that person. Because it's still within you, but that belief of a past version of you is proud already. And seeing that and knowing that the past version of you is already impressed. You have everything you need to achieve right now. Everything. And I didn't really believe that until I got into these precarious situations. But we do. And it's often that it's not until you get into that situation that the solution comes, or the image comes, or the skill that you already have dormant pops up. It's not that you don't have it. It's just that you don't know because you haven't gotten to that moment to birth what you need from within. And that's powerful. Again, take it from someone who's had a colorful life. And I'm not saying this on a space of I know it all, although I do. It's a space of like, in those moments, what I learned specifically from last year, in the darkest moments of sitting in grief from the death of my father, was my ability to speak to myself and pull myself out of dark spaces, which of course I'm a speaker. But it wasn't until I saw that I was able to pour into myself, when I was just like bawling, when it was like just that intense crying from the loss of a parent, and just also that challenge, because as a speaker, I allow myself to feel all of this to speak. I only speak about things I've endured and grown from. But instead of saying, let me pick up the phone and call someone, nah, Hope, you gotta sit in this. Let me distract myself and go on TikTok. No, you gotta feel that. That's a part of the healing. And feel it, and feel that emptiness and that loneliness and that sadness. And it's a part of the healing process. And now speak to yourself. Pull yourself up. It was powerful. So when I share that you have everything within you right now for anything that you face in life, I mean it. We do. And it also comes from that trust. Trusting, like I'm okay. I am okay. I have done great things. I am doing it. I'm taking every step every day. Even if it's just looking up or writing one email, you've done it. You've done it. And that's important. It's also important to remind yourself of how powerful you are and how much you've grown, and especially of your resilience, because there's many factors that may try to share the opposite. And I am here to tell you how strong we are, how resilient we are, how powerful we are. All it takes is a thought. It was just a thought. Oh, I want to become a speaker. I want to do this. And it's led to all of this. That's powerful. It takes the thought, it takes that belief, and it takes the acting. That's all it takes. But that's what it takes. So whatever you want to do, initially, you just have to have the thought. If you want to create the best chocolate cake in the world, I want to create the best chocolate cake in the world. Great, there's the thought. Next, it's paired with the belief. The belief that you can. The belief that you can create the best chocolate cake in the world. And the third part is just the acting. The showing up every day. Getting better ingredients. Sourcing better ingredients. Adjusting the baking time. Adjusting the temperature. Adjusting, crafting, all of that. But that is that acting. So you can't have one. You can't just have belief. You can't just have the thought. You can't just have the method, the acting. All three together will create whatever you want over a sustained amount of time. And I say a sustained amount of time because often the thought is, I'm going to do this and it didn't work, so I gave up, it won't work. Well, you tried for a weekend and then you threw the towel in. Give yourself a sustained amount of time. For me, it was, I will be the best and I will make this work. I don't know if that's 1 year, 4 years, I'm 4 years in. But within time, you will. But it's not the time that you see within your mind. It's something outside of you. Sometimes it's the lessons. Even with my TED Talk, I was supposed to give it the year before. And then something with the venue, or they canceled it. And I was like, I'm not doing the TED Talk. And then it happened the year after. It took that additional year, but it was still done. Maybe it took more of my expertise. Maybe it took more of my confidence as a speaker. Maybe it took what it took, but it happened. And for us to step outside of that space of, I have to have it in this time frame. The time has nothing to do with how you see it, because we always misjudge time. We always misjudge it. It takes the time that it takes. It takes the time that it takes. So don't give up and take the time that it takes. And look good doing it, okay? If you're going to do it, look good doing it. Don't half do it. Look your best. And that is my word for today. So the thought, the belief, the method, the trusting in oneself, the believing in oneself, the ability to shut out the noise from the outside, because there's always noise, and noise doesn't always mean people. Noise sometimes is our thoughts of, I'm not doing it right. It's taking too long. Can I do it? It's not showing up. I don't know if I have the funding. I don't know. You can just keep going. And I remember my dad saying this, and I say this to myself, just keep going. And you never know the channel that it will come. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there, whether it's on this app or whatever app or a specific group. Put yourself out. You can have the greatest idea, but if no one else sees it, if people aren't aware of what you're doing, then it doesn't exist. And that also shifts the people who will succeed and those who don't. Because there's always the person that says, I'm the best at this and they need to ask me. Well, no one knows you because you haven't put it out. So you probably have the idea or the product, but until you venture and put it into a space where others can critique it or add something to it, it doesn't matter. So put yourself in a space to be seen. And that can be difficult. Maybe that's the word for tomorrow. That fear of being seen, but you get over that too. Because you'll realize that a lot of people don't know what they're talking about in the first place. There's a lot of just talk. But the goal is the goal, and the goal is to achieve, and it's actually the journey. It's not actually the goal. Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about, T. The journey, how you shift, how you evolve, how you keep going, how you're persistent, how you change your method, how you speak up and advocate for yourself or change your design. That journey gets you to the goal, but you don't know that until you start walking the path. And you you just keep showing up. That is important. And that's what actually factors out those who want it and those who kind of just want a bit. No, I'm going to keep showing up. So this is my encouragement to keep showing up and just believe. And here's another secret. I will put it into ChatGPT, like the craziest story of what I dream about. And I will ask ChatGPT to create a story for my visualization of XYZ happening for me as a speaker. And it'll craft it up and I'll read it. I'll read it before I go to sleep. I'll read it when I get up. And it's a way of like visualization. Maybe this is a part of manifestation or just that belief of what can be. Because it can. It just takes that belief in showing up. Truly. That's all it takes. So that is my word for the evening. I hope this has been of value of some way. I hope I've been serving looks. I feel like I saw you on TED. Maybe you did, Lori Bowman. I don't know. I feel like I saw myself on TED too. So if you want to be like Lori Bowman, my link in bio has my TED Talk, or you can go to YouTube and put Hope Emergency Landing. You can watch my TED Talk. My links are there. I have to reformulate everything because the universe said, with pleasure, Queen Links. The universe said, Hope, all new. So no phones. My MacBook Pro motherboard is fried. They just called me today. So I don't know if I can ever get back all of the stuff that was on my iCloud. I don't remember the password, but oh well. With pleasure, Dulce. Is it Dulce or like Dulce de leche? But I say that to say I can always create new. I'm trying not to think about all of the things that I could not get back. So, yeah, place something in the chat. Put a key in the chat. Okay. Well, you know, I'm a speaker of many idiomas. Place a key in the chat if this had some benefit. Subscribe to my Hope is Speaking YouTube. I'm adding more content. I'm editing currently on my phone. I usually would do this via my computer, but we just roll with the punches here. My team is catching up. And 111 in the room currently. If this has been of some help, follow, like, share any of the content, and I will be updating later this month the dates because I'll be speaking in person a lot this year. I just don't speak about it until the places have published it. And I love traveling and speaking because I'm a talker. I love to talk. And I'm just very excited for all of the developments and to continue to speak life into myself and others and make you laugh and do it with style. And I also had these delicious browned butter Rice Krispie treats that my sister made, and they were decadent and delicious. And I'm dreaming of them because they're gone. And I would like some more. I guess I'll have to make some. So I share that I always close my lives with these three things. Be the reflection of love, because we all come from an infinite source of love. Secondly, show up. That's all you got to do. Show up for yourself. Show up for your dream. Show up for your designs, Terrence. Show up for your content. Just show up, because nothing happens until you show up, and show up consistently. And finally, believe that it's yours already. Just believe, because that belief is powerful. And I close this message with that. All right, you locked in, you designer. Okay. I'm proud of you. All right. That's right, Terrence, you locked in. So I will see you tomorrow. I love you all. Good night, goodbye, and go work out. Because if you're not, you're slipping. The summer will be here before you know it.